Hello, screenwriters, and welcome to Writing for Screens, the screenwriting step-by-step project, episode 203. My name is Glenn Gers, and I come to you every Monday through Friday, if I can make it. Oh gosh, I didn't put the title on. If I can make it 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time Zone. I come here to let you look over my shoulder, share my screen as I write a script in order to demystify the process. This is not about content. This is not about how to write a great script. It's just how I taught myself in a 25-year career writing TV and movies to get the thoughts in your head into an outline, into a rough draft, into a rewrite, into a script. Just the tips and techniques, tricks, things you can do that might be helpful for you. If they're not helpful for you, don't do them. There's not a right way. Everyone has to figure out their own system that works for them. I'm just trying to do this so that you can see a system and see if it works for you. Take the parts you like. That's what every writer has to do. Every day, every project, you've got to figure out what things out there in the world you like, things that work for you, and you make them your own and you disregard the rest because you can't be someone else. You got to be you. So that is what we do here. If you are interested in something that's more about the lessons of writing, the basics of writing, go to the rest of the channel. This is a very specific thing. This is 200 hours of me writing a script and letting you see how I do it. That is not necessarily writing education. The rest of my channel, the first 3 playlists particularly, Screenwriting Essentials, Screenwriting Tools, Skills, and Craft, and the process, being a writer. Those are full of very practical, boiled down 10-minute video lessons on the topics that the thumbnail says. Thinking in scenes, writing an outline, genre, flashbacks, dramatic action. If you want to know what I have to teach, that's where you'll find it. It's there. It's free. Use it. Okay. Hello, Javier. Good to see you. Thank you for all the dinosaurs and hearts. That is what everyone needs. Dinosaurs and hearts. Okay, let's get... today, I'm going to try and deal with the ending. Here's the thing. Yesterday, I went through the outline. Hello, 99 Precinct. I went through the outline and I tried to figure out what scenes really need rewriting. Didn't do the rewriting, but the thing is, the whole last 10 or 15 pages, that is really, really still unformed. Hi, Jenny. Hello, Donna. Thank you for your message, Donna. I will respond to it as soon as I can. So here's the deal. The whole last 10 pages, I guess. Yeah, starting with Deacon's call is really not right yet. There's just too many. Once again, what happens is sometimes I have things I want to get into the script. And so I outline them as, this is when they're going to talk about this and they're going to do this thing. But sometimes I'm so eager to get the material, the information, the moment down, I don't really make it flow for the characters. It's just presented nicely for the reader. The really good writing happens, and the thing I try not to let myself off the hook for, I let myself off the hook for a lot of things when I'm writing. I'm like, that's as good as it can be. But the one thing I really try to make work is everything in the script, the characters should be acting out of their own needs, not just checking off boxes I need them to do. And this right now is not this last sequence is not working that way. Jeff, I will do the best I can. Hi, Tavana. I'm sorry that you are feeling uninspired lately, Jeff. just keep chugging through it. I would say honestly, when you're feeling like you're just, not really there, don't push too hard. Sometimes pushing too hard just makes it worse. But also don't leave entirely. When you're feeling like you're not able to operate at 100%, operate at like 30% if you need to. Get a little bit done. Don't pressure it. Don't say, when I'm feeling bad is when I have to push myself the hardest. That doesn't actually work. When you're feeling bad, push yourself enough to keep going and wait till you're feeling better to push hard. That's my personal approach, my personal belief. Okay. So here's the deal. I'm just going to try and read through this sequence and see. Hello, Natasha. Hello, Maritlatoso. We are looking at the end because the end has many good things in it, but it doesn't have that feeling of, now we are getting, people are operating, they're working at their own highest level, that the characters are really focused and something is happening. That is what is not going on yet. Hey, Gene. So I was just saying that I'm going to try and think about the ending. Okay, so here's the deal. The phone rings. It's from Madeline. Elmore. You know what? Doesn't have to be parenthetical. Actually, I'm not even... Doesn't matter. The point is it's a prepaid phone. And it's obviously a cell phone, not just isn't it a landline? All right. Okay. There we go. Yes, endings are so hard. Endings are hard. Everything is hard, but endings are particularly hard because they really do have to be the best part. You cannot have 2/3 of a great story and a crappy ending and expect anyone to walk in. Whatever is the ending is what they leave feeling. So you don't want to. It's so hard not to. You have a great deal of expectation that you're going to transcend, that you are going to go someplace great. I'm not even going to worry about that. I'm trying to just fulfill the promise of the scene. These are good scenes. This is a good idea. The idea that these people are hunting the serial killer and he calls them and says, "I didn't do it." That's a good idea. That's worth making work. Hello, Kirby. We are rereading the ending so that I can get an idea of what I should do to fix it. Okay. Okay. First thing I can do is take away these damn Okay, so what I'm doing here, what do I need to fix about the ending? The ending isn't dramatically powerful. That's what's wrong. It's a great idea. In other words, I know that I've got a good idea for the structure is not a bad structure. The idea that we're meeting all these characters and then they come together at this moment, and just then the guy they've been hunting, the serial killer that they think that some people think doesn't even exist anymore, calls them and says, "Hey, I just have to tell you, I didn't do this," about the murder. And that they talk to him for a while, and then when they get off the phone, they're like, "Uh-oh, uh, we can't just walk away from this now." That's a great ending for a pilot. The problem is that currently it doesn't feel emotionally strong. The characters are not. The characters are not getting pulled into a dramatic situation with each other. They're thinking out intellectual concepts. I need them to feel, for the audience to recognize their position without a lot of without currently just people are explaining it, and I need to just, and this is not, it's not like this is an unsolvable problem. It's just a step I have not taken yet. That's actually something really important to explain here. A lot of rewriting is not, I can't figure this out. It's, I still haven't done this part. like every script requires you to do every step with every scene, which means it has to be well written, it has to move, it has to be dramatic, it has to have a tone. There's a lot of layers of character action that you need to put in, and so it's not like, that's a new problem. It's just an aspect of the scene that I have not yet focused on, have not yet done. So when I say I have to fix a scene, I don't mean like, it's not the wrong scene. It's just not done. I haven't thought about where's the emotional focus for the audience. There's a lot of people in this scene. There's a lot of information and changes in this scene. So I have to make sure that they are on the track, going to the right character at the right time and feeling the right thing. So the main thing is I have to read through it and see where is it not flowing. Because what happened is I had a lot of information I had to get down, so I was just making sure it was written down, but it didn't logically proceed piece to piece. I just got the pieces down. Also, it's just some of it's just repetitive. In other words, one of the main things that undermines drama, that undermines emotional commitment for the audience, that undermines the ability of the audience to feel the story, is when things are out of order. Like if you have the same idea come back 3 times, the audience stumbles mentally. They feel like, I don't understand. I thought we had taken care of that. I was on this track, and now we're stopping to discuss this other thing. So a lot of it is just that. The issue of whether or not they talk to the police comes up and then gets dismissed, and then comes up and then gets dismissed. So yeah, this is exactly what I don't want to do. Sorry, Jenny, and I don't mean that badly. But what I was trying to explain is the problem isn't that there's something wrong. The problem is that I have not done the thing that yet needs to be done. This is just incomplete. It is not proper. It is not well written yet. I don't need to make it to fix it. I need to finish it. So and this is actually a really, like I said, this is a really important thing to keep in mind. It's not always that when you're working on something, sometimes it's simply what you want to do, you haven't done well enough yet. You don't have to do a different thing. That's the most important thing to do. Otherwise, you find yourself just going off in all these tangents and stuff. The thing about this script is that now the structure is pretty good. The characters are pretty good. It's just not well written enough yet. And by well written, I mean, I do not, when I write something that's good, I know that the audience is following a feeling. They're following a feeling with a character. And the character is thinking, oh my God, I'm talking to this person, and then he's actually the murderer. And that's good writing, good dramatic writing, is that we understand the situation emotionally and intellectually. So what is wrong is purely how it's written, not that there's something that I need to change. And that's what I was really trying to emphasize to you is very often when you are rewriting, don't go scrambling for new things. What you want to do is think about how to make the thing that you've chosen as good as you can make it. That's what I am doing today. I am not worried that this is not going to work. I am not worried that it's wrong. I'm worried that I haven't done it well enough yet. So Jenny, I did not mean to in any way make you feel like, you're doing the wrong thing. I was actually trying to use this as such a valuable lesson. All of us, all writers, especially when you're starting out, you don't recognize the importance of respecting your own choices. If you've got a story that you want to tell and you feel like you've built a good structure that's a cool thing that happens, then make it work. Don't say, oh, well, now I have to change it. Like I have to add a layer. If I have to add a new twist because I don't think that's good enough, that's a very different problem from, this is a great idea. Why isn't it reading right? That's where I am. This is a good idea. This is a good idea for a scene. This is a good idea for a structure, but it's not playing good enough yet. So that's purely what I was trying to do in order to do that, you need to stop thinking theoretically and actually look at the words. That's why I'm sort of not that entertaining right now, because I'm actually reading it saying, which words are doing what job here on the page? And one of the things that's going on is I've got a lot of mechanics to cover. In this scene, there's 2 people talking on the phone, and there's like 6 people watching them and interfering in some cases. Just explaining what the other people are doing here. Xena does this, Xena does that. Those are getting in the way. We're taking the audience out of the moment to say, oh, by the way, this thing's happening. Oh, by the way, when you actually watch a movie, you don't have to do that because it's happening simultaneously on the screen. One of the things, actually yesterday, Division 5 asked this question. He said, is there a better way to indicate that someone is doing something while they are speaking? And the answer unfortunately I had to say was no. It's a thing that movies, screen work does that writing doesn't do, is to do things simultaneously. You can have somebody walking and looking at something and somebody else is behind them. You can see that simultaneously. In writing, you have to actually write 2 separate sentences. It's just a fact of writing. So when you get that kind of entertaining moment that movies do so well, where a lot of people are talking at once and a lot of things are going on, that's really hard to keep clear in the writing. And that is simply what I'm trying to do. Is I've got this scene, which is the culmination of the hour of storytelling that we've got, where all the characters are coming together with their different agendas. What I would love to do is be able to just say, oh, in the back, he's doing this and he's doing this. Just can't get it all in there because it's too distracting to the reader. In this phase, have you or do you expect to find areas that you'll need to augment in earlier acts to pull off the Act 3 payoff? Sometimes. In this particular case, that's not the problem. But yes, there are definitely times when the thing you want to do is fine. It's just not working because you didn't do something earlier to make it feel great. For instance, sometimes a character saying, I am quitting my job. That can be really cool. But if you didn't have scenes before where that was a crisis that they were not quitting their job, so the decision to quit their job is powerful, you can't make that more powerful by putting it in all caps. You can only make it more powerful by building scenes before it where the audience is saying, quit your job, gosh darn it. That's very often the case. In this case, that's not what's going on. What's going on is I simply have too many things going on at once. I don't have too many things. I have things that are hard to describe all at once. If I have a long scene, with little to none dialogue, one has to be more descriptive than usual. Meaning he stands up, takes the book, looks at the pages, throws gently on the book to the table. I'm guessing that this is less room to the director or the actor. Actually, that's a fair question. Here's what he is talking about is if you've got a long non-dialogue scene, it seems like you have to over-describe it. I don't think you do. What you have to do is describe the most important thing. Like, for instance, he stands up, takes a book, goes through the pages, looks at the ceiling, throws the book gently on the table. Do we need to know all that? Or is it really, just that he's, he picks up a book, tries to read it, but can't, and sets it aside. You don't necessarily want to describe every little bit, unless every little bit is really unique. You don't really want to do that. The truth is that a long scene without dialogue does not have to be intimately described. You have to get the main feeling and let that flow in the scene. But what's really the question is what's happening, and you don't actually need to describe every little moment, especially things like looks at the ceiling. That's not, it's okay, but generally, it's not necessary. The idea of focusing on the actions, not describing all little actions, but I still feel it's too much. The answer is sort of the same answer as what I'm dealing with here in this dialogue scene, which is you don't want to put so much into a scene that people get lost while reading it. That's the most important choice, that you can't, no matter how much you might have in your head about how someone does something or how they say it or all the details, if you write all the details, then the reader is going to get lost. They're going to get frustrated. They won't know what the center of the scene is. So that's my answer is, you can sometimes write quite a bit of non-dialogue scenes, but if you're describing every little step of an action, maybe stop and think, what is the grand action, and just name that. All right. Okay. And sometimes, honestly, a lot of what's wrong with this scene is I am being too indirect, which was my big note to myself. when I was going through the outline, like this line. I didn't. He said he's saying I can't go to the police, and she says you can if you're really innocent. And then he says I didn't do this. They may not. That may not be the end of it for the police. That is a lovely line. What he's saying is, this particular crime I didn't do, but I am a serial killer. I may not. That may be too vague. The version I have. It may be worth writing more clearly, like I didn't do this particular crime. I didn't do this crime. I haven't decided yet, but I'm trying to just see why is this not working. The other thing is like this idea, like this is that case of these descriptions are interrupting the flow. All right, that's interesting. Okay. My computer just informed me that the stream, that my internet connection is unstable. Are you guys not getting me? Just checking. Let me know. Hey, Tony Diamond, thank you so much. You've got me. You are very welcome for all the knowledge. That is great that you like the knowledge. Today you are watching me puzzle. You are watching me try and figure out. There may be some things that I am not sure are worthy of live streaming. We are reaching a stage of the project where there are certain things like reading. Reading just is not the best show. It's just not a great show. So I hope that this is. I'm trying to talk as I read, which is the problem. Is that means that I'm not reading very well. Oh, yay. Good. I'm glad. I appreciate that. Yay. You guys can see and hear me. You can see and hear me read. Thank you. I'm glad. Yeah, this may be something I just have to read when you guys aren't watching. So feel free to ask questions. You are not being distracting me because I really should be just answering questions now, I think, and doing this. doing this reading. Since not only have I never done this before, I don't think anyone's ever done this before, written a whole script while people are watching. There are parts of the process that cannot truly be live streamed because I can't do them while I'm talking. This is an interesting idea. You know, all right. Here's, okay, so. Here's the thing. This bit where I've always liked the idea that he tells that he proves he's the real killer by telling them about his state of mind, the way he operated. I'm not sure that this is a great bit here. It's intellectual, it's complex, but it's like the idea that they didn't know how he was thinking and that he actually thought very differently than everyone assumed. That's interesting, but that probably should be explored in some other way in some other episode. This is just the pilot, and it's about, this scene is about his gaining their trust, and I think that maybe change how he proves who he is. The I didn't stalk them insight should maybe go in a later episode as they all get to know each other, and this should be more nuts and bolts. He should actually tell them a detail the police did not release. The funny thing then is they don't know if it's true. Okay, so that's an interesting idea. Okay. Well, see, I am accomplishing something. I found there are so many things when you are writing that you theorize, that you say, I think this is going to work, and then you cling to them. And one of the most important things when you're doing a rewrite is to say, am I just clinging to this thing because I liked the idea when I wrote the outline, but now that I see it in the script, it's not doing the job I thought it was. That's hard to get used to, because it means that you can't trust your own judgment. One of the most important things about learning to write is to say, I think this is good, I'm writing it down, it's good. Of course, as you do rewrites, you say, I thought that was good when I wrote it down, and now I see that it wasn't. So maybe the other things that I thought were good when I wrote it down, maybe that's not good. It's very destabilizing. However, you begin to get it. You get a sense of it. Honestly, you begin to get a sense of, this is not working because it's not working. Because when I read it as a reader, I'm not getting the feeling. So the fact that I thought it was going to work is different. There's other things where you read them and you're like, yeah, that works. All right. Well, at least I've got a constructive thing to do. Okay. All right. Anybody got any questions while I'm reading? I'd be happy to stop for it. I'm beginning to think I'm going to need to read this off screen. I'm going to have to read through and plan the rewrite. Elorette. Hi, Elorette. Have not met you yet. Yes. Hi. Hi. Just as valid as the person. Okay, this is actually a good point. This is true. It is the game. It is the process. And I did say that I'd remove while. Not a problem. Here for the slow parts. Not a problem at all. Yeah, that I did say I'm here to demystify the process. This is the process. Yeah, also, that's the thing, is that a good scene that has a lot of people in it is tricky, because people will pipe up now and then, but you have to make sure that the main parts of the scene are working. The main players are getting what they need done. I'm not thrilled with this line. I'm just going to mark it that that's not a great line. I don't know. I don't think I need to mark it. It's like, these are ideas that I like. They're not said very well. You know what? This will help. There we go. That's better. Neat. Okay. See, here's the thing. Okay. This is good. All right. Writing is exactly that. That is true. Writing is one of the few occupations where it is in fact required that you stare off into space. That, and I guess astronomy. All right, let me see what I'm doing here. Yeah. So all of this stuff is just summarizing what we've got. I'm going to bring it down here. Boom. All right, this is going to become a thing to do. Okay. Okay, are they debating telling the police or debating the killer? See, that's the thing. The plan becomes okay. See, what I'm basically trying to do here is just figure out, like, there are a lot of different ideas that are raised in this last 10 pages. what's the order that the ideas go through emotionally, dramatically. Like to say, like they're debating whether or not to do the podcast. We have to get to the place of, uh-oh, he's going to come after us, which means he's going to come after us. So we have to go after him. That's the key. The other thing is when he leaves, I think we have to add a bit where when he leaves, are they asking him to stay in touch? I think they should, and he has to say maybe. This is important because as it stands now, I have it written that he's basically saying, no, I'm disappearing again. But the truth is, for the rest of the story, he's going to be involved. So I think that we have to, yes, they must. This is not even a question when he leaves. They must urge him to stay in touch. And he has to say yes. Okay, this is very important. Okay. The Duffer Brothers mentioned that in the US, it's okay to just email your script ideas to yourself for copyright purposes. Is that your understanding as well? That is a good question. Perhaps Gene actually can answer it better than I do, because that's a legal question. As far as the only thing I don't know is email a legitimate legal record? The reason that it used to be, the deal was you could mail yourself an envelope with your script in it. And if your printed copy of the script was in an envelope that was not opened, but had a postmark on it, that was considered legal proof that it was written at a certain time. That's the whole point of that. The idea is, if you're going to say, I wrote this script in 1972, you need to prove that you wrote it in 1972. One way you can do that is a legal government document called a copyright, where you say, you send them a copy of the script and they hold on to it and they send you a little piece of paper with the date on it that says, you gave us this on this date. Some people don't like to do that. It's not, I mean, it's kind of a drag because it's gotten expensive. It used to be about 15, 20 bucks. Now I think it's 60 or 80 in America. I don't know what it is in Australia. But the point is, if you can, you should register with the Writers Guild, which does not last forever, but for at least 5 or 6 years, that it's legally considered proof that you wrote that thing. Or you should copyright it in the nation you are in. It's an online process. You can copyright it with a PDF. The reason that you used to be able to avoid copyright by mailing it was because the government literally stamp on the copyright was considered a legally binding proof that you had at least given them that document. The post office stamp, the cancellation, not the stamp, the marks of the post office on an unopened envelope was considered equally legally respectable. Like, well, the government doesn't mess around. Of course, you could forge the cancellation, so you could forge a copyright document. But in general, in general, it was considered proof of ownership of that script. I mean, you actually didn't prove that you wrote it. So I would say, keep your notes, keep your drafts. If you have your drafts and notes, that will help. Should you, which you do not want to do, get involved in a lawsuit, and you have to prove that you wrote it, show them, look, here's an early draft where it's different. That's good proof. Okay. So the point is, what's interesting is, does an email, which is not a government sanctioned process count as a legally binding proof of your ownership of that document at that time. So what I would say is, maybe, honestly, the thing about the getting advice from the Duffer Brothers on this is the Duffer Brothers, they have some lawyer's office already copywriting their stuff. Okay, the company, Netflix is copywriting it for them, so that they may say, oh, just email it. They may not know. They are somewhat removed. People who are in the business are somewhat removed from the reality of everyday life, and one of the ways is they may not know how their scripts get copyrighted anymore. So. Yeah, right. Emails can be lost. And I don't know email, nobody does. So therefore I would say, that the answer is, it may be, as much as I enjoy the Duffer Brothers work, I would not count on them for legal advice. I would say, just play it safe. Just copyright it. If you don't want to copyright it, the Writers Guild of America has a website. Hold on, I've got this here. This has come up before. Hey, there we go. Okay, copyright.gov is where you can, if you are in America, copyright your script. WGA.org, no matter where you are in the world, you can go to WGA.org, and there is a little box on that website that says register your script, and you have to pay, I think it's $20, $25 to $20, sorry, Somalians, $25, $20 or $25, I believe, in order to fill out a very brief form and submit a PDF copy of the script, and then for a term of 5 or so years, I believe, it is protected in this way. I would suggest copywriting in the nation of your existence. Natasha says that she has copyrighted recently, and it was about somewhere between $65 and $80. That's what I thought. Okay, you're welcome. Okay. Yes, but Jean's right. If you do honestly, I don't understand why you would do this, but if you, for some reason, you don't want to deal with the government, or or your computer will not connect with them or something, and you print a copy of your script and you seal it in a paper or Tyvek or plastic envelope, and you put it through the mail. When you get it, and you mail it to yourself, or in theory to your lawyer or producer, but just assume you mail it to yourself. If you mail it to yourself, don't open it when you get it. That's the whole name of the game with this mailing thing. As long as it is still sealed, then the postage cancellation counts as proof of the time that that script was in your possession. And that's the point of that. Meanwhile, Wolf Powers is back. Hello, Wolf Powers. I hope you are doing well. Hooray! Good to see you. The Duffer Brothers. They're Stranger Things is both. It's really entertaining. I was just watching a part of it, and my wife and son were tearing it to shreds. It's over the top. It's not the subtlest thing you've ever seen. It is extremely entertaining. I am an easy audience. I find something to like in almost everything. I feel like there is a lot about Stranger Things that is just tremendously entertaining. So there you go. Who am I? That is a huge question, Fatih Kaplan. I'm gonna hope that you are not just trolling me, and so I will just say I am a writing teacher. I am doing a screenwriting live stream. No, I am an actual retired screenwriter. I am a guy who spent 25 years writing TV and movies in Los Angeles, California, and Hollywood. And now in the beginning of my retirement, having no longer doing that as a job, I thought, hey, I'm going to show people how I did it, because I really feel like there is an off that when I started, there really was nothing. There was like nothing about how you do this. It was really hard to find a script. Here, let's go here. When I started back in the 1970s, it was really hard to get a copy of a script. They were not available. They were only in people's offices. And I actually, you could now and then buy some, but mainly, somebody was selling them on the street. I swear to God, they had a blanket down on the street in New York City, and they were selling screenplays. And I bought a bunch of them. Anyway, so I just thought it would be helpful to make some videos, writing for screens. And please, if you get a chance, go to my YouTube channel, Writing for Screens. This is where my lessons are in writing. Yay, good. I'm glad that you are doing okay. Hello, Ches. It's not an Ask Me Anything day, but it's devolved into an Ask Me Anything session at the end of me doing a lot of reading on screen. So the question, how does one find the balance between writing life and personal and family life? Okay. Hang on, I'm just going to briefly answer Fatih. Fatih, is that how you pronounce it? Please let me know if I've got that correctly. You don't have to be an American. That's the beauty of YouTube. It's there for everyone. So that's a good thing. Okay. Balance of writing and life and personal life. The main thing I can say about this is it is a balance. That is the most important thing to remember. It's not one solves the other. You can't just fix one or get one right and have the balance be right. The whole point about a balance, I'm actually doing a video. It's going to be long. It's going to be a big one. I think it'll be the last video I do, actually, or one of the last, called The Balances, because there are a lot of things in writing that are balances. They are not ever resolved. You never, never, ever resolve the balance of work and life. You are constantly balancing it. And just think about it like a seesaw, like a teeter-totter, okay? And if you're standing over here and it's going this way, then sometimes you have to walk over here. Now, the interesting thing about some balances is you don't always want to be in the middle. Sometimes if something is wrong on one side, you have to go way over to the other side. So the answer is balancing work life and family life is going to be a personal calculation that you constantly do on a daily basis. You might say, like, today I can do some work. Tomorrow I have to do some errands. That's okay. That's your balance. You have to figure that out. Everybody's case is different, so I cannot say this is the way you balance it. The main thing is to be aware that you're balancing it. And the other thing is to be aware that there is some separation, that there is some pull that you have to accept. You have to say, you know, no one in my personal life is really going to be able to share the experience of writing, which I do by myself. That's true of, honestly, most things in life. One of the weirdest things in my life after 50 years of doing this is to actually be able to share the experience of writing a little bit in these live streams. That's freaky, because for 50 years, I had to say, I'm doing this thing and no one really knows what it's like. Even other writers, you know, we'll compare notes and now and then you'll find a writer friend who's like, oh, I understand what you're saying. But most of the time, your creative life is private, because that's the way that writing works. Some forms of creativity are more public. And at the same time, you have to be able to accept that you're not betraying your personal life by having a work life. And frankly, if you are in a situation where the people in your work life, in your family life or personal life are saying, we don't like that you're doing that personal thing, that's going to be worked out in your personal life and in your personal decision about what your relationships are going to be, because that's a hard thing. Like, I'm not going to say it's right or wrong. I'm going to say that, frankly, I don't know that it's healthy for people to be telling someone else, you shouldn't be enjoying the thing you like to do because it takes you away from me. But also, it depends. Maybe if you're not spending any time with your family, it does take you in. You should take that seriously. So there's a lot there. Hang on. It was weird. One thing I said for the copyright paid. Before that, I paid another. Yeah. No, it definitely depends on what the contents of being copyrighted are. There's different forms for different materials. Okay. Where do you get scripts to read? Now, with the wonderful world of the worldwide interwebs, just go into your favorite search engine and type screenplays or television scripts PDF. You want PDFs. And when you find them, you're going to find a lot of sites which say they have scripts, but what they have is an exact transcript of the film. Those are worthless. The way you know it is A, it doesn't look like a screenplay. B, it doesn't have a cover page. If it has a cover page, it's possibly a real script. Transcripts, they don't put on cover pages, but the main way you can tell is if it is exactly word for word what you would see when you were watching the movie, it's not a script, it's a transcript. No script in the world is word for word exactly like the production. So that's how you know. But yeah, screenplays, TV scripts, movie scripts, or put in the title. Citizen Kane script PDF. I don't know if that one's out there, but those are a lot of that. Published scripts are actually a little harder. They've been edited. They've been fooled with. So if you want a real script, but sometimes they're okay. Real scripts are all over the internet. Just screenplays PDF or the name of a script, PDF. You will find a bunch of them. No. I've got 20 scripts that I am still writing and polishing to complete, to have all there is to know. I've heard you talk about having made films yourself and your support for graphic novels. Do you have a feeling of what's next for this script? You mean the one I'm working on? This one, the Crime Crackers? Nothing. There's nothing next for this script because I only wrote it to have something to write while I did the live stream. First of all, I am retired from screenwriting. I'm not really that I've written a lot of scripts. I've spent the past 50 years, not kidding, 50 years writing scripts. I have an enormous pile of scripts that I've already written that didn't get sold because that's the way the business is. I also have an enormous pile of scripts that I was paid for or hired to do that never got made, and even a small pile of scripts that did get made. That's what happens when you're a screenwriter. Most things you write don't get past the finished script phase. So I personally, I don't have a need to write more scripts because for a long time it was like, well, I still want to write, I'm not getting this one made, but I want to write it because it's teaching me something. I'm learning something. It's a challenge. At this point for me, the challenge is not in scripts. I know how to write scripts. The last 4 or 5 scripts that I wrote, I was like, I'm writing as good as I'm ever going to write. I feel like I got this down. That's why I'm doing this thing. But novels, I don't know how to do that yet. And I'm trying. I'm learning. So when I finish this teaching thing, the next thing for me is novels. Have I ever written a stage play? Yes, I have. I strongly recommend writing stage plays. You learn a lot about dramatic action and character and dialogue. You learn so much by writing for the stage. Yes, when I was a kid, I used to make little silent movies with a Super 8 camera, and it was frustrating because I couldn't write dialogue. And so I stopped doing that after a while and started writing plays because I was in I was in high school. It's like, oh, maybe we can do the play at school. So I started writing plays for my school theater, and I did in high school and college. I wrote a lot of plays, and then when I got out of college, I decided to focus on screenwriting because it seemed like a good business. Actually, I can't say it's not a good business. It was. I did well. I'm very lucky. It's just not a good business. Okay, so that's it. I hope I answered. Wolf Powers, please. Contact me through the website or email if you have more. There's the question of balance in personal life is individual, and so therefore I would have to talk to you privately about some of that. because everybody's situation is different. The most important thing I can say about that balance is to recognize the importance of ongoing balancing, of respecting the absolute necessity of having both things, of taking care of yourself in the real world and of indulging yourself in the creative world. Balancing those two things, everybody has that problem. It does not matter. The richest people, the most successful people in the world who have whole squads of people to help them with their, because they're making a movie and they don't have time to talk to their children, they hire someone to do that. And I am not kidding. That's kind of the way it works. Don't kid yourself. The more successful you get, the worse that balance thing goes. What happens, though, is just everyone is so admiring of your success, they don't care that your balance is screwed. Denzel Washington once talked about that in an interview. He said, I leave home for 8 months at a time. My wife is left running our world, running our family, and I have to just let that go and say, I am abdicating that part of my life for a while. That is true of almost everyone in the biz. You have to really, really neglect your life. So the balance, the main thing I would say is don't think you're going to solve it. That's the thing about balances. You never solve it. You just constantly keep an eye on it and adjust it and try and understand the truth of those things. That's the name of the game. Okay. I would say there's two. Of all the projects I've been involved with, the ones that I'm really proudest of that you can watch. I will be putting a bunch of scripts that never got made on my website and over the course of this summer and fall. And some of those are actually my favorite. There's a script I wrote called Fail, which is my favorite of my scripts. However, the ones you could watch and rent, it's hard to find, but Off Season, which is this Christmas movie, it's pretty snazzy. I'm very proud of that. The script of that actually is on my website. If you go to the website, and you go down, you'll get that purple screen, go down past the yellow screen, down to the checkerboard screen, and in the corner, you will find a thing that says Creative. If you go to Creative, you will find a thing that says Off-Season Script. And you can click on it and download a PDF, Screenplays PDF. There's two on my site right now. Actually, there's three. Blood and Smoke is really good. Jessie Dark, it's an adaptation of a book. Never got made. I optioned a book and I read it. Anyway, that script I'm really proud of. And Off Season. Those scripts are all there for you to read. If you're going to watch something, Fracture is terrific. I'm very proud of it. It was a weird event working on it, but it wasn't my original. My most original, most heartfelt, most thing I'm proud of really is Disfigured. It's on Amazon and iTunes. You can rent it for a couple of bucks and watch it on streaming. It is available on DVD if you can find it. I know that Amazon has it. It's called Disfigured. And that I made by myself. I mean, it was just me and a 6-person crew. I paid for it myself out of the money I actually made off of Fracture and Mad Money. I'm really proud of that. That one's good. It's very different. It's very indie. It's very rough. It's out of focus a lot. But those are it. Okay. I'm getting ready to go, so I'm just going to take the. My balance has been off for years now. Mine too. Okay. Cool and groovy. That is where we're going. Take care of your balance. Take care of your work-life balance. Respect both sides of the balance of work and life, and you will be better at both if you recognize that it is an ongoing task to balance them. That doesn't mean 50-50. It just means every day you got to work on that. All right, go write something.